is the only way where they have strength. That is the only way they will send jet fighter.
Yes.
That is the only way they will send armored car.
Did you hear it from him?
I don't know. Become governor. They are not worthy to become governor. They are not capable to do it. They have no strength to fight against Herdsmen and Boko Haram. Only what they have strength is to fight against Biafra, fight against IDP. That is the only way where they have strength.
That is the only way they have strength.
That is the only way they will send armored car. But look at their village, empty. People have.
They drove away everybody from this village, driven out. Fulani Herdsmen.
If you enter inside this village now,
with the support of their Janjaweed,
they are running away. Do you see what is happening in Nigeria? Can you see? We have passed the billion Ghana of Rugwani, and they are selling land. They are selling land. They will pursue you for your home. Government will take that, they will selling it. That is only selling land. They Ghana, but they cannot even protect the people of Enugu State. It's a very shameful thing to these two governors. I'm telling you people the truth, that the Enugu State is not safe. People is not there for many years. People is not there for many years. And the governors are busy doing other things. They don't care.
You saw it. This is what Mazi Simon Ekpa is fighting against. This is what Mazi Simon Ekpa has always been fighting against to stop. This is what Mazi Simon Ekpa has been fighting to make sure it does not happen. This is the reason Mazi Simon Ekpa today is standing before the court in Finland. This is what Mazi Simon Ekpa is trying to prevent. And because he's trying to prevent this, they accuse Mazi Simon Ekpa of terrorism. Because Simon Ekpa don't want his people to be pushed away from their villages. Simon Ekpa is fighting against what you are watching. Pushing our people into IDP camp, destroying villages, chasing people out from the villages. And the person that made this report, you saw it, AIT, we are the one that carried out this report. And they said it, the people that chased this people out are the Fulani Herdsmen. The Fulani Herdsmen chased them out from their village. In a place where you have governors, you have lawmakers. But look at the village, look at their market, deserted. Everywhere have turned to forest. They were chased out. Nobody tried to fight for them. This was why Mazi Simon Ekpa came into the picture. This was why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu came into to protect these people from the Fulani terrorists. But today, the man who is trying to prevent this today is the one facing the court in Finland and being charged of terrorism. The man who is trying to prevent this thing you are watching now is the one that accuses him. How could that be fairness? How could that be fairness? Is that fair? I ask you that is watching, is that fair? That can never be anywhere be translated or translated as fairness. This is something we don't want to be part of. This is something we do not want to happen to us. This is something that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu tried to prevent. This is what Mazi Simon Ekpa was fighting to prevent from happening. And today it is happening. It is happening because they have taken him away from the picture. It is happening because they detained the man that is trying to stop this thing that is happening that you saw there. They detained the man who was trying to stop it. It is sad. But that is Nigeria for you. What we are seeing here again is the Fulani attack in Biafra. In the highway, they blocked the road. There was no security anywhere to protect the people. This is what Mazi Simon Ekpa was fighting against. These are what Mazi Simon was fighting against. I want you to listen to them. These were what Mazi Simon Ekpa, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was preventing. Listen.
What's no problem? No problem.
Opala Road, the Fulani Herdsmen, terrorists block the road. These are travelers. These are travelers. They couldn't move. Finlandese were in the highway, kidnapping people and taking in the forest. They kidnap people and they take them into the forest in a highway in Biafra. This happened on 27th of March in Opala. He gave a date. This was what Mazi Simon was preventing to happen. Fulani is blocking the road.
Everybody packed. All of them packed. No motor is coming. No motor is coming.
This is what the Biafran people are going through. That Mazi Simon Ekpa said he cannot continue to watch this happen. This is why they detained Mazi Simon Ekpa. Because he was trying to prevent these things from happening. Mazi Simon Ekpa was fighting to see that our people are not driven into the IDP camp. He was fighting to see that our people are not being massacred. And it is because of these things that Master was trying to stop. Today, that he is facing the court in Finland. How can that be just? How can any human being justify arresting Mazi Simon Ekpa? A good guy who was trying to stop the atrocities of the Janjaweed. How can you justify detaining the good guy? A man who was trying to make sure that peace is restored. We saw the movement of these criminals. Today, they have taken over the southwest. And look at the arrivals. This is what we are trying to avoid.
Subhanallah. Where are they going? Where are they coming from? Who sent them to here? Who sent them down here? May God Almighty help us. Oh.
This is when they were arriving in Yoruba land. Today, Yoruba land cannot, people cannot live in Yoruba land.
Who invite these people?
You are asking questions. Your government invited them. You're asking questions.
In the front of KTLF, he said, what are they looking for? Where are they coming from?
This is what Mazi Simon Ekpa was stopping in the southeast. They dare not enter the southeast.
Now, wow.
They dare not enter the southeast. When Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Mazi Simon this way they were invading Yoruba land. They invaded Yoruba land in broad daylight.
Because of election 2027, now people say because of election 2027, what you plan ahead also why?
Okay.
Because of 2027 election. Because which work? Dangote refinery. Which I won't go today. What type of work?
Imagine.
God of mercy. And I won't go cut grass for Dangote refinery and a place like this. Baba.
Look at the excuse. They want to go and cut grass in Dangote refinery. They want to go and cut grass in Dangote refinery.
I will not allow people to buy. How they reach here? Who asked them to come?
Now your government asked them to come.
Who invite these people? Baba, everybody turn left. Because of election 2027, what's the matter? anybody wọn kọ́ máa dùn lóra kọ́ máa padà sí lọ́tí wà kọ́ máa padà sí lọ́tí bọ̀ wá kọ́ máa yẹ káwọn obìnrin kan dúró bíbá because wọn dẹ́gbẹ́ dáadé bí lọ́tí wà. Chai, we don finish.
No, na never finish. Shebi una want one Nigeria. Una never finish. This is what Mazi Simon Ekpa was preventing from happening in Biafra land. This was exactly what Mazi Simon Ekpa was preventing. And this is why they are accusing him today. This is why they are attacking him today. Because he stopped this from happening from Biafra land. Because he said this will never happen. That is why they are attacking Mazi Simon Ekpa. That is why they are calling him now. That is why today he is facing the court in Finland. I don't know why a government that is working with terrorists openly, they're not even hiding it. How can any legitimate government anywhere in the world work with them? How? How can any legitimate government in the world listen to their information as right? This is what Mazi Simon Ekpa was preventing from happening in Biafra land. And when we say these people are a bunch of terrorists, we are not guessing. It is not a guesswork. We have evidence, many evidence to show that the Zoological Republic government is a terrorist government. That Mazi Simon Ekpa is the good guy who was trying to prevent the loss of life, who was trying to prevent tragedy. Mazi Simon Ekpa was only trying to prevent tragedy from happening. But instead of them appreciating the good work, they blackmailed him. They blackmailed him. Look at the speech of Danjuma. What is different from this speech with Mazi Simon was preaching? Today they are judging Mazi Simon.
Every one of us must rise up. The armed forces are not neutral. They collude. They collude. They collude with the armed bandits.
The person that is speaking, that you are hearing his voice, the person that you are hearing his voice is Danjuma, a former chief of army staff in Nigeria, one of the criminals in Nigeria who supported, participated in the massacre of the Biafran people. One of the architects of the evil called Nigeria. Look at him, Danjuma. Today, he's almost the richest man in that country. They compensated him with oil wells. Former chief of army staff. But look at what he's saying about Nigeria. Look at what he's saying about Nigeria. And it is because of these things he's saying. That is what we saw. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has seen it even before he began to speak. This is what Mazi Simon Ekpa saw. And Mazi Simon Ekpa decided to defend his people. And today, Finland, over there in Finland, in Europe, Finland is asking Mazi Simon Ekpa a question. Why is he defending Biafra? Why is he fighting for Biafra? You don't know why he's fighting for Biafra. I want you to listen to it. For those of you who don't know why we are fighting for, why Mazi Simon Ekpa is putting everything, including his career, on the line. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is putting his life on the line to fight and save his people. Listen to Danjuma.
Every one of us must rise up. The armed forces are not neutral. They collude. They collude. They collude with the armed bandits. They kill people, kill Nigerians. They facilitate their movement. They cover them. If you are depending on the armed forces to stop the killings, you will all die one by one.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Former chief of army staff said on national TV that if you are depending on the army to defend you, on Nigerian forces to defend you, you will all die one after the other. I did not say it. I didn't say it. Former Chief of Army Staff said, if they are not doing anything, if the people do not rise up to defend themselves, that the military is colluding with the killers, colluding with the terrorists. Nigerian government is colluding with the terrorists to take innocent life. If you don't defend yourself, that you will all die. It wasn't Mazi. This is former Chief of Army Staff, Danjuma, T.Y. Danjuma. One of the evil men. But today, the evil that he created is living with him. This is why Mazi Simon Ekpa is defending Biafra today in Finland. This is the reason Mazi Simon Ekpa is defending Biafra today. This is why Mazi Simon Ekpa took up the challenge to defend Biafra. Today they have forgotten their evil, and all of a sudden they are painting Mazi Simon Ekpa to be the troublemaker. Meanwhile, the troublemakers are there walking free. They are there walking free. How can you call him a troublemaker when the troublemakers are there? How can he be? Let's hear the mindset of the people in the Zoological Republic.
US, of course, US. But they are not relocated to Canada.
If you had the power to choose your country of origin, would you still pick Nigeria? Or would you take your chances somewhere else? Maybe Canada, the UK, or even Ghana?
This is a question that was asked for people in the Zoological, all these people that are claiming to be in Nigeria. They were asking them, if you have opportunity to make a choice, either to be in Nigeria or relocate, what would be your choice? I want you to listen to the choice of people.
US, of course, US. But they are not relocated to Canada.
If you had the power to choose your country of origin, would you still pick Nigeria? Or would you take your chances somewhere else? Maybe Canada, the UK, or even Ghana? Today, we are taking it to the streets to hear what Nigerians really think.
Listen.
Is it the country owned? Is it the economy, the vibes, the freedom, or just peace of mind?
Actually choose countries probably in America or in Europe. Right now, I'm actually going to the passport office because I want to relocate to Canada. So I think Canada because Canada, other continents like the America and the Europe are far better, well developed.
Everybody in the zoo want to relocate,
especially Nigeria. So they are 100 times better than Nigeria at the moment in terms of infrastructure, healthcare, education, and they live long. Objectivity. Yeah, we have a whole lot of pollution there, corruption, a whole lot just behind the main line here in Nigeria. So everybody wants a better life. So we need to migrate to a better place. US, of course, US. But they are not. Because the world over, we saw that check the economy. The economy of US, you can't compare it to any other country. What to Africa? So why would I not do the as we speak now, our education, we don't even know it's at the comatose. So but compare and contrast US, to have the opportunity to travel, otherwise the school, the okay, the certificate is genuine and constructed economy-wide. Why would I do that? Opportunity once that don't take it on them, jump everywhere. So that's it.
But there are more population there. It's a good country, a good place to be. Nigeria is corrupt. Nigeria is a corrupt country. And Nigeria is not safe. The economy is better.
You see, on that survey, no single person chose Nigeria. No single individual chose Nigeria. All of them choose somewhere to japa. This is what Mazi Simon Ekpa is fighting for. Mazi Simon wants every Biafrans to be proud of Biafra land and return back home. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu wants every Biafran to return back home and be proud to be Biafrans. That is what they are fighting for. That is what we are fighting for. We cannot be in a country that is being corrupt. So corrupt to the extent that nobody is proud of being part of that country. Nobody. Including the idiots that are working and are calling themselves lawmakers and one Nigerians. They are not even proud of it. They are not proud of that country. I bet you they are not proud. A country controlled by terrorists. A country where terrorism is the other day. I want you to listen to this.
So we knew that if we went that forest and flushed them out, would degrade their capacity.
No, the greatest challenge that you face, though, is the Fulani herdsmen today, which is being reported in just about every other media, that they are the ones perpetrating this crime.
Which
Are
crime?
they the ones?
Which crime?
Killing of people.
No. Look, let me explain the three problems and
Listen.
get it in context. The cattle rustling and banditry is an essentially Fulani phenomenon. Okay, it is Fulanis, and we knew where they were, and we collaborated with the state governments surrounding that, the notorious forest rent, Kamuku Kuyambane Forest Reserve, and said, look, this is a problem that we have to solve jointly. We collaborated with the cooperation of other state governments. We put together money and a military operation, flushed them out. Okay? And today we have over 300 young Fulanis between 18 and 30 in custody for kidnapping, for cattle rustling, and robbery. Okay? So that we understood. It was easy because that's one.
So from that point on, when you understood the problem and flushed them out, did you subsequently find out that perhaps in that process, while they were flushed out, did they get involved in the other crisis which you're about to explain?
Maybe they did. Okay, I will come to that because we have this problem has multiple dimensions, and I'll try to cover everything as much as I can. But I'm trying to classify the problems and tell you what we did. Okay, so to a large extent, we degraded cattle rustling. They moved on to kidnapping. Okay, we have addressed that to a large extent. It's more or less sorted in Kaduna. Unfortunately, because of weak law enforcement, there are copycat crimes all over the states now. I'm learning to my dismay that today in Lagos now you have cases of kidnapping, but this is what we did. Now, the second problem of the urban gangs we addressed because the police and the SSS knew who these gangs were. It was just the capacity to bring them to justice that was lacking.
Imagine.
And that was done. So to a large extent, we solved that. Yeah, it's still...
I want you to pay key attention that this man, the midget, Erufai, when it comes to the insecurity, he knows much. And he is confessing that the government knows the people that are perpetrating this evil. This very thing they are charging Mazi Simon Ekpa today in Finland. This man is calling the name of the people that are perpetrating the evil and confirming that the government knows them. The so-called DSS knows them. But for one reason or the other, Malami concocted a fake evidence against Mazi Simon Ekpa. And Mazi Simon today is representing Biafra in Finland. Look at this man confessing of the evil and atrocity and how involved he is, confirming that the government is very much aware about every insecurity we're talking about.
Because drug addiction is a big problem, but that was sorted. The Southern Kaduna was more difficult because we didn't understand it. And this is why we needed a high-profile committee like the Agwai committee to look at it. And they did. We established the committee in July. By the end of August, they submitted us their report. They went around Southern Kaduna, they talked to community, they talked to everybody. And they came back with certain findings and recommendations. And the findings were very enlightening, even to me, who is Fulani. Okay, I'm 87.5% Fulani, I'm told by my parents. They found that there were three groups of Fulanis. The settled Fulanis, like me, that don't hard cattle.
Remember, he is one of the Fulani, so this idiot is one of the sponsors, so he is. Just listen to him.
They're semi-settled that live in Nigeria. They are Nigerians, but move their cattle up and down in search of pasture. And then there's the transhumans pastoralists that come from other African countries. Fulanis are in about 14 countries. All over West Africa, there is virtually no country in West Africa that is no Fulani, minority or even majority. And under an ECOWAS protocol signed in 2003, these Fulanis take their cattle when the dry season in their country starts and hike them down to Nigeria, up to central Nigeria, okay, in search of pasture. And around March, when the rains start, they start moving back the same routes. And apparently, I didn't know this until I got briefing as governor, there are international stock routes mapped out from pre-colonial times that these transhumans herdsmen follow. Unfortunately.
And by the way, this route this man is talking about is not in the southeast. It's not in the south entirely. The route, the cattle route is only in the north. It does not extend to the south. It is only in the north. What are they looking for in the south? Why are they invading south? Why are they kidnapping in the south? Why are they attacking a Hamufu that I just showed video up to the extent of driving everybody in that village? Why?
Because of population explosion, we're 50 million at independence. Today we're nearly 200 million. Because of population explosion, urban development and farmlands have taken over some of these international routes. Okay. This is the basis for the clashes now. A herdsman in Guinea, for instance, thinks that he can follow this route, and as he's following the route, he meets the farm, and his cattle destroys part of the farm, and the farmer.
In any situation, have you gotten reports, intelligence reports, that perhaps the farmers also took the cows of the herdsmen?
No, we have no such reports. But what often happens that when damage to a farm occurs, in those days, the Fulani would leave behind a small calf as compensation. So, what I'm trying to say that in the past, there used to be a framework to settle these things, okay? But that framework has more or less collapsed. So, when we understood this, so a Agwan committee identified this and said, and they also found that some of what we're seeing in southern Kaduna were reprisal killings for what happened in 2011.
Imagine.
Because in 2011, as the herdsmen were...
They are still killing in southern Kaduna up to now.
To their countries or to their locations in various parts of northern Nigeria, the post-election violence took place in April. And many of them were trapped. They just happened to be there. And they were killed. Cattle, their livestock lost, and so on. And so some of them were coming back to do the reprisal killings. Most of the Fulanis within Nigeria filed claims, okay, because there was the Lemu Commission of Inquiry that looked at this problem and made recommendation that federal government should pay compensation to those that lost cattle.
Where did this happen? Where were they trapped?
They were trapped mostly around Zonkwa in Zango Katab local government, Kaura, and Jema'a.
These are all in southern Kaduna.
These are in southern Kaduna. And this happened to be also the areas where we have these problems today. Okay? There are 8 local governments in southern Kaduna. Only 3 or 4 have this problem. Okay? And this is where mostly the killings in 2011 took place. Now, after the Lemu Commission made recommendations, and the Judicial Commission of Inquiry set up by Kaduna State also made similar findings, compensation was offered to those that were killed, displaced, and so on. And some of the federal government provided the money, and compensation was paid. But of course, those that are in Guinea, in Mali, in Niger, cannot claim any compensation. They didn't even appear before the commission. These are the people coming back.
Okay, we'll
carry out reprisal killings.
We'll come back and take a look at it from that perspective and find out what you also did to solve this problem. And do join us again. And how
kinds of Fulani that exist, how some of them move from different countries into Nigeria to cause some of these problems. Now, on the 3rd of December 2016, it was widely published that you had a meeting with a select group of journalists, and you did brief them that your government has traced some violent, agreed Fulani to their countries and paid them to stop killings of Southern Kaduna natives and the destruction of their communities, saying that the renewed violence is carried out by bandits. Could you explain this?
But look, that was reported not only incorrectly but out of context. What we did was this. The Agwai Committee recommended that we should reach out to these transhumance pastoralists because they have established that most of the attacks in southern Kaduna are traceable to them because they were outside the process of the Lemu Commission and the Kaduna State Commission of Inquiry. They did not receive any compensation. They didn't even appear before the commission because they are foreigners. And one of the members of the Agwai Committee fortuitously was part of a team that the late governor of Kaduna State, Patrick Yakowa, was sending to reach out to these people. Apparently, Yakowa also stumbled onto this information and realized that he had to reach out to these transhumance pastoralists from other countries. And that process was going on. If you look at Yakowa's tenure, in 2011 there were attacks. But he started this outreach. And throughout 2012, until he died, there were no attacks as such. Okay? So one of the members of the committee mentioned this, and it was in the Agwai recommendation to reach out to these people through NGOs, civil society organizations, and so on. So we reassembled the team and said, go out and talk to them. Tell them that this has to stop. Tell them that we are willing to offer compensation for lost lives, for lost livestock, but it is senseless to keep killing people because you feel that, you've been offended.
So did they respond to you?
Pardon?
Did they respond to you?
They did. We sent a team and they went round, and by the time they made 3 or 4 such groups, the killing stopped. So between August,
You see, why I played this video is for you to know, like the Finland authorities that are seeking for those causing insecurity. Look at Fulanese. You see how this man explains the fact that they know this perpetrators of this evil. And you see, in 21st century, how can somebody be talking about cattle route, carrying cattle from one state to the other, from one country to the other, in 21st century? You are talking about cattle route after how many decades that development have come, people have built houses and many villages have developed. You are still talking about cattle route. Well, the cattle route is only in the north. What are they doing in the southeast? And see it at the end. He has accepted that even though these clans we are killing them, we are still going to negotiate with them and pay compensation. And whenever they lack money, they will still come and take innocent lives. Whenever they lack money, they will still come and take innocent lives. They never stopped. Even up to today, after this man himself sent people to go and pay compensation, and he said that is clean stop. Today, just few weeks, was it last week? That same Zabon Katafi was attacked. I played the video here of the attack. I played the video from the same place this idiot is talking. They were still attacked. And one thing you have to see that you see them. This man is a Fulani. They are always negotiating, reaching out to their people. But in our land, what are Biafrans doing? IPOP is only calling for self-determination. They never kidnap anybody. They never killed anybody. They are only calling for the freedom of their people. But what does the politicians in Biafra do? What the politicians in Biafra do is to invite the federal might to send the Boko Haram to come and kill our people. That's what they do. For more than 2 decades, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was speaking about the referendum for the Biafra people. They have never reached a dialogue with him. The very first time Mazi Nnamdi Kanu met with the governors, they discussed, and he told them, gave them simple options, simple thing to do. International airport, seaport, rights of the Biafran people, simple things that can be done. But what did they do? Instead of going about this thing, what did they do? They went and brought Python dance. And they took the life of thousands of Biafrans. From there onwards, the insecurity in Biafra land started. The people, they took the life of their family members, many of them could not take it. And they began to fight back. Today, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is in detention, facing life sentence. The same life sentence sponsored by a Nigerian government, by the Southeast governor themselves. Look at the northern governor, a Fulani man, confidently defending the Fulani actions in national TV. Confidently in national TV, explaining how they paid compensation to a bunch of marauders and killers, paid them compensation and begged them not to come back. How they continue to negotiate from one governor to the other, they continue to negotiate, even up to today. But in Biafra land, what do? They go and bring the military. They form security outfits to fight their brothers, to kill themselves. They create chaos. Nigerian government, Buhari started it and established the Bubago. Buhari used the Bubago to destroy many lives in Biafra land. And this was what Mazi Simon Ekpa, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu always fight to prevent. And today, the people that are preventing this atrocity are the ones that are facing the court. The people that said enough of the death of the people. People that said enough of the death of the innocent, they are the people that are persecuted today. How is that just? How can anybody justify that? How can anybody justify that? What crime have we committed? The only crime we committed is that we don't want to be part of this Zoological Republic anymore. The only crime we committed is that we say we don't want to be part of this deception anymore. Enough of the deception. Everything we are saying today is in the public. What we are fighting for is in the public. But they continue to demonize us. I want you to hear this from a former president of Nigeria, what he had to say. Let's hear him.
And of course, what is happening in Nigeria today regarding the situation in River State is like an Indian proverb that said that if somebody is sleeping, really sleeping, you can easily wake up that person. But if the person is pretending to sleep, you find it difficult to wake up that person. The key actors in Nigeria, from executive to the legislation, luckily Senator Binta and others are here, and the judiciary, they know the correct thing to do. But they are refusing to do it. They are pretending to sleep. And waking such a person is extremely difficult, because the person knows the right. The clear abuse of offices, clear abuse of power, clear abuse of privileges, cutting across from the three arms of government, from the executive to the parliament to the judiciary. And I always plead with our people that whatever we do affects everybody. And sometimes we do things and we think that it doesn't affect us. I've been a president before, and even after leaving office as a former president, we'll get to me. Why is that our passport is not valued that much? Why is that Nigerians are not given the kind of treatment we're supposed to receive by the international airports? Sometimes you think it's because of Yahoo boys or 419. No, not only them, yes, they are part of the problem. But whatever happens in the country today would be good, especially relating to what is currently happening in the country regarding River State. As we gather here today, we are reminded that the pursuit of social change is a continuous journey, one that requires a collective effort, commitment, and perseverance. The theme of this colloquium is timely and relevant as we seek to address the present issue of our time, from inequality and bigotry to social injustice and marginalization. I believe that it is mark of good leadership and governance to be able to leverage the transformative power of diversity, equity, and inclusion for social change. As a leader, I have seen how these values can bring people together.